Heir to fortune, cleaning lady's brutal secret about his daughter revealed at midnight. Midnight. The clock chimed, echoing through the opulent mansion like a tolling bell of doom. As the last note faded, an eerie silence enveloped the lavish halls. This wasn't just any night, it was the night secrets would spill, a night when lives would change in a flash. Whispered tales echoed in shadowy corners about a hidden truth buried deep within the estate, a truth too horrific to bear. In a dimly lit room, the cleaning lady, Agnes, stood frozen. She was just a ghost in this grand house, her hands worn from years of scrubbing floors that sparkled under chandeliers dripping with crystals. But something flickered in her eyes tonight, something dark, something desperate. She was known for her kind heart, but even the purest souls can hide the deadliest secrets. It was said she had been there that fateful day when the fortune was made, when a daughter was taken while the winds howled like a mournful creature. She was no mere custodian, she was the key to a locked door, the one that could unravel everything. Agnes's mind raced, memories flooding her like a tidal wave. She remembered the blood. She remembered the screams. The night the daughter vanished without a trace. They had turned this tragedy into a scandal, a shrouded affair whispered about through clenched teeth at high-class gatherings. No one dared to speak her name in daylight, and yet here was a woman willing to stand in the shadows of her own torment as the clock struck midnight again, a time when shadows waltzed and reality danced on a knife's edge. With every tick, a heartbeat echoed louder. The daughter had been born into privilege, raised like a porcelain doll, but it was Agnes who had cleaned the mess of a past that whispered of betrayal, greed, and blood. What if she held the very clue to the family's downfall? What if the heir to the fortune was a mere puppet, strung along while the real players lurked behind closed doors? Her heart raced, a lump formed in her throat. Could she bear to reveal it all? The truth, could it finally shatter this glass house of lies? Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash the like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. The tension pulsed in the air, suffocating yet electrifying. Agnes took a deep breath. She felt the weight of 1,000 secrets pressing down on her shoulders. Just then, a shadow crossed her path, a faint figure, looming in the doorway. It was the heir, his face pale, eyes like storm clouds ready to unleash fury. How much did he know? Did he sense the truth lurking, waiting, just beneath the surface? Her hands trembled as she reached for the edge of the table, grabbing onto the wood for support. Questions raced through her mind. Would she tell him? Or would she protect the family's name from the horrors of their past? That midnight air thickened with dread, as outside, the wind howled a foreboding tune. The mystery of what lay hidden deep within the family's dark history churned, desperate to be uncovered. And in that moment, a silent scream for revelation echoed through the halls, begging to be released. What would happen if she let the truth slip? Would it destroy everything, or could it be the spark of a new beginning? Everything hinged on the next moment, the next choice. Would the cleaning lady's brutal secret about the daughter come to light, or would it hide away, deep in the shadows, forever? Agnes's heart pounded like a war drum as the heir stepped closer, his expression unreadable. The shadows hugged him tightly, but his silhouette spoke of a mix of anger and confusion. "What are you doing here?" he demanded, his voice sharp yet low, almost drowned out by the chilling wind outside. Agnes swallowed hard, the lump in her throat growing. She felt the urge to flee, to fade back into the walls of the mansion, but the gravity of the moment held her captive. I need to talk to you," she finally said, her voice barely a whisper, trembling with the weight of her intentions. "Talk? About what?" he shot back, his eyes darting around as if expecting unseen eavesdroppers. The flickering candlelight danced across his face, revealing a moment of vulnerability, quickly hidden behind a mask of hostility. "About your sister. About that night." The words fell from her lips, heavy and laden with regret. Emotion threatened to break through her stoic demeanor. His posture stiffened as if she'd struck him. "My sister? What do you know?" he asked, each word dripping with suspicion. Agnes hesitated, the pain of the memories clawing at her insides. She could see the boy he once was innocent, smiling, unaware of the abyss that awaited. But behind that innocence now loomed a man, hardened and wary, a man who might not believe what she had to say. I was there. That night. I saw what happened. His eyes narrowed, and a bitter laugh erupted from his lips. What you saw? A cleaning lady with a view? You think I'll believe you? You're just some ghost of a past that doesn't concern me anymore. Please. She implored, desperation lacing her voice. You don't understand. I held her. I saw the truth unfold. It was never just a tragedy or an accident. There was more, a betrayal. Your family, they buried that night. And the truth will bury you too if you don't face it. He recoiled, shock flashing through his eyes. You don't know the first thing about my family, Pain. But I do, she pressed on, empowered by her fear. You think you're just the heir to a fortune, but you're living under the weight of a lie. A lie that has tormented us both. He hesitated, the turmoil in his expression flickering like a faulty bulb. She had him if only he would listen. Your sister, she is not gone. Not really. She is hidden, and I know where. Before Agnes could finish, the air turned electric as the door swung open with a creak. A figure stood silhouetted against the ambient light, the outline stark and foreboding. A man dressed in black, face obscured by shadows, watched them with an unnerving gaze. What did you just say? The stranger asked, a low, menacing drawl that sent a shiver down Agnes's spine. The air immediately threat, Who are you? I'm the one with the answers you both seek, the figure said, advancing into the room with purpose, the light reflecting off something sharp glimmering in his hand. Agnes's breath caught, panic spiraling through her as tension crackled in the air like static before a storm. Was this man connected to the past, to the darkness she was trying to uncover? As the stranger stepped closer, the key to their family's curse dangling between them, Agnes realized that secrets were not the only thing that would be revealed tonight. Would they even be ready for the truth? Or would this confrontation ignite a fire they couldn't control? The clock struck again, marking the time for reckoning, the moment when lives would be torn asunder. The air around them thickened, a storm of uncertainty swirling in the dimly lit room. Agnes felt herself shrink under the weight of the stranger's icy gaze. There was a sharp glimmer in his hand, a knife? Or something worse? Her heart raced. Step back, the heir commanded, thrusting his chest forward as if to protect her. Confusion melded with a flicker of hope within Agnes. Could he actually be ready to confront the darkness, to face the truth? The stranger chuckled, the sound low and dark. You are in no position to make demands, heir. You think you can shield her? You have no idea what she has been dragged into. His eyes narrowed, targeting Agnes with unsettling intensity. But you do, don't you? You know her fate. You know how she suffered. Stop, Agnes gasped. You don't understand anything. Oh, but I do, he replied, stepping closer, his features becoming discernible in the feeble candlelight. I know the secrets trapped in these walls, and I know how they can destroy you both. The heiress' confusion deepened into anger. What are you talking about? Speak plainly or leave. His voice became a growl, but Agnes could hear the tremor beneath it, the cracks in his armor. I can show you, the stranger offered, a smile that didn't reach his eyes curling his lips. But you must be willing to look, truly look. He held up the object in his hand, an ornate locket. As it caught the light, Agnes's breath caught. The delicate engravings were achingly familiar. Where did you find that? She stammered, stepping into the light as the memories flooded back. The locket belonged to his sister. The night she vanished, it had been lying beside her, a symbol of a love that had turned deadly. Dig deep, cleaning lady, he said, feigning sympathy. The truth is buried somewhere in your heart. What price did you pay to conceal it? For God's sake. The heir shouted, voice climbing to a near hysteria. Enough with your games. What does this mean? The stranger leaned in, almost conspiratorial. It means everything. Your family's fortune is built on a grave. And until you understand that, you can't break free. He waved the locket like a conductor of chaos, the shadows around them shifting as if they were alive, threatening to engulf them both. Agnes's resolve shook. The heir glared at her, eyes searching. You know something, don't you? He pressed, desperation creeping into his voice. I'm trying to tell you, but before she could finish, the scream of a woman echoing from the halls outside shattered the tension, a wailing sound that sent chills darting down Agnes's spine. What was that? The heir breathed, his focus shifting towards the sound, leaving their confrontation ablaze in the background. Something worse than you can imagine, the stranger replied, his grin widening. Something that might just be the key to unearthing your sister's fate. Agnes dared not look away from the gleaming locket, the gateway to the past tantalizingly close. But first, there were screams to silence, horrors to face head-on. With a heart pounding in rhythm to fear and determination, she stepped forward. Show me. I will uncover the truth whatever it costs. The stranger's gaze flicked to the air, and for a brief moment, the three of them stood in a silent standoff, heavy with unresolved tensions, secrets ready to spill. Then follow me, if you truly want to know, he said, leading them from the flickering shadows into the dark unknown. Agnes felt the chilling grip of fate weave around her once more, just as the foreboding echoes resonated once again from the depths of the mansion. What awaited them out there, in the maze of memories and dark corners? And was the truth really worth the journey? As they stepped into the dark, Agnes couldn't shake the feeling that the walls were listening, and perhaps even judging. They moved cautiously through the narrow hallway, the air heavy with dread. The flickering light from the candle cast quivering shadows that danced ominously on the stone walls. Each step forward seemed to pull Agnes deeper into a nightmare. She could still hear that woman's scream ringing in her ears, a haunting melody that echoed fears she had buried long ago. Where are we going? The heir whispered, a note of fear sharpening his voice. To the source, the stranger replied, leading the way with a confidence that unnerved them both. The heart of the secrets hidden within this mansion. Agnes's heart thudded. She could barely see the stranger's face, but his silhouette loomed like a specter, guiding her toward the terrifying unknown. Questions surged through her mind. What did he know? What did he mean about her suffering? She felt the weight of the locket, a sharp reminder of all that had been lost. They turned a corner, and to their left, a door stood ajar, cracked open as though inviting them in. The stranger paused, glancing towards the door. This is where it begins, he said, his voice a mere whisper. Agnes felt a rush of air escape her lungs. She glanced at the heir, whose eyes were wide, filled with a mix of dread and determination. Together, they pushed through the doorway into a room engulfed in darkness. The scent of dust and decay filled the air, a sign of neglect that steeped the history of this cursed place. As Agnes squinted her eyes, she discerned objects draped in white sheets around the room. Furniture stood in eerie silence, the outlines of once familiar items now cloaked in an otherworldly fog. A chill danced along her spine. Uncover them, the stranger urged, motioning toward the sheets. The past you seek is hidden under these coverings. With trembling hands, Agnes approached the nearest sheet, her breath quickening. What lay beneath? The heir was beside her, his gaze locked on her movements, desperate for a glimmer of truth. Together, he said, his voice barely above a whisper, they removed the sheet in unison, revealing a display of framed photographs, yellowed with age. Faces stared back, some familiar and some foreign. Agnes's heart raced as she recognized the woman in a photograph, her beauty frozen in time. It was the sister, the heiress sister. The one who had vanished. Why keep this? Agnes muttered, memories bubbling to the surface a time before horror enveloped their lives. There is more, the stranger warned, moving toward another sheet with determination. Unravel the truth, but be prepared for the consequences. With each sheet they removed, a story unfolded, dark and twisted. The photographs revealed a hidden history, family gatherings that masked unspoken tensions, relationships plagued by secrets. There were whispers of betrayal, shadows of jealousy, and then, they stumbled upon an old trunk, heavy and sealed. Agnes felt a cold wave wash over her as she reached for the latch. Don't! The heir grabbed her hand, panic flaring in his eyes. We don't know what could be inside. What if it holds the answers? Agnes countered, her own trepidation battling a fierce desire for clarity. Sometimes, truths are better left buried, the stranger chimed in, a dark gleam in his eye, but Agnes couldn't turn away. The screams echoed in her mind, and she could perceive the weight of the locket burning in her pocket, the truth begging to be uncovered. "Help me," she said, voice steady, looking at the heir. "We have to know." His resolve softened into something more profound, a fleeting moment of understanding passing between them. With a deep breath, Agnes unlatched the trunk. The air turned electric, charged with anticipation. As she lifted the top lid, a burst of stale air rushed out, making her stumble back. Inside lay a collection of items buried in darkness. Agnes's breath caught as she reached in, fingers trembling over something wrapped in delicate silk. Before she could fully grasp the revelation, a loud crash from the hallway jolted them, forcing them into startled silence. "What was that?" the heir whispered, wide-eyed. Now, confusion and fear coiling together. "Something is coming," the stranger warned, a sense of danger thick in his tone. The echo of footsteps grew closer, heavy and deliberate, as Agnes clutched the silk-wrapped object to her chest, feeling its weight like a hammer on her heart. Was it another clue? A curse? She exchanged a glance with the heir, their shared urgency igniting a fierce determination. Whatever awaited them beyond, they would confront it together. And as the footsteps drew near, closer and closer, Agnes whispered, "We can't turn back now." The door flew open, revealing a figure shrouded in darkness. Shadowy eyes glinted in the dim light, and Agnes felt the full weight of a choice heavy in the air. This was the moment that could change everything, but at what cost? As she stood there, frozen between revelations and revelations yet to unfold, a guttural voice shot through the room, "Who dares disturb the past?" Agnes felt every muscle in her body tense, a hard knot forming in her stomach. The figure in the doorway was cloaked in shadows, blocking the dim light from the hallway and filling the room with an oppressive darkness. All she could see were those eyes, twin pools of malice that bore down on her, demanding answers, demanding silence. "Who dares disturb the past?" The shadow rasped again, the voice echoing like thunder through the room. Agnes's heart pounded violently in her chest. She wanted to speak, to shout that they were looking for the truth, but the words clung to her throat, trapped by fear. The heir was beside her, standing rigid, his eyes darting between her and the intruder, his breath coming in quick, shallow gasps. "Step forward," the figure commanded, and something in his tone sent chills racing down her spine. Agnes felt the silk-wrapped object slip from her trembling fingers, falling to the floor with a soft thud. It seemed trivial now, lost amidst the swell of dread filling the room. The stranger, still cloaked in mystery, took a step toward the figure. "We mean no harm," he said, his confidence wavering just slightly. "We're seeking answers." "Answers?" The figure's voice dripped with incredulity. "You think you can just waltz in here after all this time and demand the past to yield its secrets?" Agnes caught a breath, her mind racing. Past what? What had happened here, and who was this mysterious intruder? The heir took a cautious step forward, shifting slightly in front of Agnes. "Is it true? Is it about my sister?" His voice cracked, splintering the tension in the air. "What happened to her?" A smirk emerged on the figure's face, twisting the shadows into something even darker. "Your sister," he said slowly, stretching the words like taut string before snapping, "was never meant to be found. Some secrets are buried for a reason." Agnes felt the weight of the locket in her pocket increase, pressing against her heart like the burden of an unspoken past. She had come here not just for answers, but to reclaim the fragments of a stolen life. "You must tell us." Agnes's voice was stronger now, filled with a fierce desperation. "She deserves that. We deserve that." The figure's shadowy form shifted, and Agnes could feel the atmosphere crackle with anticipation. "Very well," he sneered, "but understand this, the truth is rarely what you expect, and some truths will haunt you more than the lies you cling to." He took a deliberate step closer, and the candle flickered, illuminating just enough of his face for Agnes to see a cruel smile. "Shall we see what horrors lie in these forgotten memories?" He gestured to the trunk they had opened, its contents now exposed. Before Agnes could react, he lunged forward and grabbed her wrist in a vice-like grip, his eyes narrowing. "You should know better than to meddle with what you don't understand." The heir rushed to Agnes's side, attempting to pry the intruder's hand away, but the figure only tightened his grip. A wave of panic swept over Agnes. The walls, once filled with whispering memories, felt like they were closing in. "Stop!" she shouted, breaking free from her shock. "Let him go. You can't threaten us for seeking the truth." The room seemed to vibrate with tension, the flickering light casting jagged shadows across their faces. He loosened his hold slightly, and in that moment, Agnes saw the flicker of uncertainty in his dark eyes. Perhaps he didn't have all the power he claimed. She glanced around, searching for something, anything that could help them. The heiress' voice broke through the thick silence. "What do you want?" "Your family's pain. Their history." The figure leaned in, an unsettling grin stretching across his face. "And I want your fear." Suddenly, a violent crash sounded from the hallway. Again, a warning, or an invitation? Agnes's heart raced frantically. Whatever was coming, it was the reckoning of a past they had thought forgotten. As the figure's grip slackened, Agnes seized the moment. She caught her breath and prepared herself. "If you think you can scare us into submission, you're wrong," she declared defiantly. But a dark shadow loomed at the entrance to the room, cloaked and sinister. The footsteps marched forward, drawn to the chaos, and Agnes felt her pulse quicken. What other demons waited outside? What horrors would surface if they continued unearthing the past they were so desperate to confront? The figure chuckled, unfazed, his grip now gone. "You have initiated the awakening. What will you do now?" As darkness closed in from all sides, Agnes felt the weight of the locket burn against her skin. "We will fight," she whispered, her voice steady, even as dread swirled around them, and as the door creaked further open, letting more shadows flood in, Agnes knew they were in a battle for the truth, and secrets were about to bleed into the light. What would they discover next? And could they bear the consequences? Agnes stood frozen, a chill creeping into her bones as the shadow in the doorway slipped effortlessly into the room. It was as if the darkness itself had taken form, whispering secrets too vile to be spoken aloud. The air beside her stiffened, the palpable tension radiating off him like heat waves on an oppressive summer day. "Who?" he started, but his voice faltered. The words felt heavy, like lead in his throat, swallowed by uncertainty and fear. The new intruder, cloaked in an imposing black robe, advanced with deliberate slowness. The flickering candlelight caught the edges of their cloak, revealing glimpses of a pallid face and a gaze that seemed to pierce right through. Agnes could feel the temperature in the room drop further, her skin prickling as the air thickened with a suffocating dread. "Ah," the curious little mouse and her fearless companion, the newcomer hissed, eyes glinting. "You follow the scent of the past, but do you have the courage to face it?" Agnes's breath caught in her throat. She felt her heart thrumming like a wild bird trapped in a cage. "We're here for the truth," she managed, though it sounded faint and shaky. "We have a right to know what happened." The figure chuckled darkly, a sound that echoed cruelly against the walls. "Rights? Such a quaint notion, my dear. You and your kind play with fire, thinking you will emerge unscathed. But each truth you uncover is a thread that unravels the tapestry of your precious history." Before Agnes could respond, the figure lifted an arm, signaling with a fluid motion. Suddenly, the trunk behind them began to shudder and shake violently, as if protesting the secrets it held. The contents, forgotten relics covered in dust, jumped to life, shadows dancing around them as if celebrating their release. "Hold steady!" Agnes shouted, clutching the heiress' arm. The room seemed to shrink, the walls closing in, swallowing the light, and with it, any hope they had. The air shifted closer, pressing against her, offering a slim shield against the ghostly chaos swirling before them. "What's happening?" he whispered, voice trembling like leaves in a storm. "Choice," the cloaked figure replied, voice steady and taunting. "The past is filled with choices made long ago. Every piece tells a story of love, betrayal, and blood. Are you ready to listen?" Agnes's grip tightened on the locket, and she stepped forward, drawing courage from the anger bubbling within her. "We don't fear what's coming. Show us what you have." The figure's gaze flicked with surprise, but amusement quickly replaced it. "You wish to see?" The tension in the air became electric as shadows melted and twisted at the figure's command. Dark forms writhed in the corner of Agnes's eye, distorting reality, taunting her sanity. Then, like a thunderclap, the trunk burst open entirely. Old photographs, yellowed and torn, burst forth like a storm, spiraling in the air. Faces once cherished, now mere specters of pain, flitted by Agnes, a woman with a gentle smile, children laughing, a shadow with eyes that mirrored the darkness of the figure before them. "Who are they?" The heir gasped, pointing at a faded image of a girl no older than 10, peering with wide, innocent eyes. "Your sister?" Agnes breathed, heart racing. "Is that?" "It is," the figure confirmed, darkness wrapping around its words. "But truth and memory can be devious. They can twist and evolve into something monstrous. Nothing is as it seems." Agnes felt her pulse race, rage igniting with every word. "No. We won't let you manipulate this. You can't control us." The figure chuckled, a bitter sound that echoed ominously. "But you're already ensnared. You opened the door to these horrors." The shadow seemed to pulse with life, drawing closer. Whispers filled the air, secrets past and buried, clawing for release, threatening to drown them in despair. Agnes's resolve began to shatter, her thoughts spiraling as despair loomed ever larger. "Together," she said fiercely, gripping the heiress' hand tightly. "Whatever this is, we will face it." But just as they began to brace themselves against the tidal wave of revelations, the door to the room swung wide in a wild gust, revealing yet another figure, this one more solid, more frightening than the shadows they confronted. The resemblance was striking. "What have you done?" The new arrival thundered, eyes dark with fury. What new terror awaits them? What will be revealed now that the shadows have been disturbed? The new arrival stood in stark contrast to the swirling shadows. His tall frame filled the doorway, blocking out the dim light. His hair was tousled, face tense, a storm brewing beneath the surface of his features. Agnes instantly recognized the piercing eyes, so similar to the heir's, yet filled with anger instead of anxiety. She felt her heart race, knowing fear was quickly getting the better of her. "Father! You shouldn't be here." The heir stammered, shifting uneasily beside Agnes. "Too late for that, son," his father shot back, voice low but thunderous. "What have you gotten yourself into?" Agnes felt a lump in her throat. Was it possible that this man, so towering and full of dread, was the key to unlocking their secrets? Her gaze flickered back to the cloaked figure, whose enigmatic presence seemed to absorb the tension radiating from the room. The figure grinned, a chilling satisfaction lighting their twisted features. "You see, the past does not die easily," the figure murmured, his voice slithering through the air. "It calls upon those who should listen. And now, the stage is set for a most explicit performance. What do you know about my sister?" The heiress' voice shook, a mixture of desperation and urgency. His fingers twitched at Agnes's side, a silent plea for help and guidance amid the chaos. "More than you'll ever comprehend," the figure replied, moving closer, their cloak fluttering like moth wings around a flame. "I've seen the wounds inflicted by the choices made in this very room, and only through confrontation can you hope to heal." "Stay away from him!" Agnes shouted, stepping forward, her voice a wild edge against the rising tide of fear. "You think you can toy with us? We demand to know the truth." The shadows thickened, coiling tighter, the air darkening with malicious laughter. The photos, still suspended in the air, began to distort further, their edges bleeding into smears of black ink, faces twisting into grotesque masks of anguish. "Choices," the cloaked figure spat, twisting the word as if it were laced with poison. "Every action leads to another. You think confronting ghosts will set you free? It will bind you deeper. The truth isn't meant to be reclaimed, it's meant to be buried." Agnes felt the turmoil within her, the merging of anger and desperation. "You want us to run, to hide? To leave the past untouched and rotting away? Do you think we can just walk away?" The heir whispered, his voice crackling. "I can't bear this. Enough!" His father barked, stepping forward. "We will confront this dark specter together." His words ignited something in Agnes's heart. Maybe, just maybe, there was enough power in unity even in the face of relentless darkness. They were on the precipice of something monumental. We face this as one, she said firmly, looking at both the father and son. Whatever we discover, we will not let it swallow us whole. But as her words echoed in the suffocating air, the shadows erupted into a ferocious whirlwind, tearing at them, sharp whispers clawing at their sanity. The room expanded, and shapes began to materialize, faceless figures from the past, as vivid and raw as their pain. The cloaked figures smiled wider, satisfied, as the past surged forth, ready to unravel before them. Let the games begin. In that moment, Agnes felt the cold grip of fear twist in her gut. What would they discover among the ruins of memory? Would it reveal the truth that shattered their reality, or the nightmare that chained them forever? As the shadows lunged with a fierce hunger, she braced for impact, a promise hanging in the air: they would uncover their past, no matter the cost. But at what price? What lay hidden beneath the surface of their family, poised to erupt once the truth was unearthed? Agnes felt the air humming with unrest as the shadows thickened around them like a sinister fog. Heart pounding, she took a half step back, instinctively seeking comfort in the presence of the heir. Yet, when she turned, she found only fear mirrored in his eyes. The cloaked figure advanced, the darkness almost treacherous as it swirled at their feet. You think you can hold hands and face this together? You're mistaken, the figure hissed, voice low as if drawing strength from the very gloom around them. The past won't go easy on you. It has a mind of its own. Stop. The heir shouted, his voice rising above the chaos. You have no power here. Oh, but I do, the figure taunted, pointing a skeletal finger toward the suspended photos. With a flick of that finger, an image crystallized, a hazy photograph of a younger version of the heir's father standing beside a young girl, their smiles innocent, yet laden with a shadow that crept into the corners of the frame. Agnes squinted, her breath hitching. This was before she vanished, wasn't it? Don't do this. The father struggled, his voice wavering as he stepped closer to his son. Not in front of them. Why? Are you afraid they might learn the truth? The cloaked figure replied, reveling in their escalating despair. Shadows writhed, distorting the image, twisting the faces into something monstrous. No. You don't know anything about us. Agnes shot back, adrenaline coursing through her veins. She was exhausted, but now rage ignited her spirit. This isn't just your game. You're attacking our family. Finally, the figure paused, considering her defiance with a narrowed gaze. Family? A lovely concept, isn't it? But I assure you, every family has its secrets, and some are deadlier than others. With a swift motion, the figures snapped their fingers. The shadows stirred violently before exploding outward, revealing specters of lost ones buried deep within their minds, anguished faces of the wronged, mouths screaming silent cries, disappearing just as quickly as they formed. Agnes staggered back, hands pressed to her ears. This was no ordinary fight, it was a battle of souls, of fragments of the past clawing their way back into existence to torment them. Agnes! The heir grabbed her arm, pulling her to his side. We have to focus. Focus on what? She asked, her voice cracking under the weight of emerging dread. We're a part of this, whatever it is. We can't make sense of anything amid this madness. Then let us stop being their puppets. He declared, steeling his jaw. What if we confront the shadows ourselves? Instead of running scared, let us force them to show us the truth. The father's eyes widened, caught between fear and pride. You're willing to tread where I failed? It's the only way. The heir turned to Agnes. We need your strength, too. The darkness can't hold us if we stand united. Agnes nodded, her heart pounding, the shadows no longer feeling like an insurmountable wall, but a challenge to be faced. It was a wild gamble, but if they had any chance of breaking free from this relentless agony, they needed to fight back. Let us do it, Agnes finally uttered, feeling the weight of her decision. They locked hands, forming a chain as the shadows twisted like serpents, shrieking their discontent. Show us the truth, the heir shouted, voice fiercer than she'd ever heard it. We will find out what really happened. As the shadows crashed against them, a blinding light began to swell at the center of their grasp. It pulsed with energy, the air crackling around them like static electricity, foreboding and electric. But before they could comprehend its meaning, a chilling laugh erupted from the cloaked figure, their words laced with an insidious promise. You think you can embrace the past? We'll see if you can withstand its consequences. And just like that, the light flickered, shadows shifted, and the room began to melt away. They all gripped tighter, bracing for whatever lay beyond, two questions gnawing at the edges. What would they uncover, and would they emerge unbroken? The answer hovered dangerously close, just out of reach, waiting to ensnare them in its ethereal grasp. The light exploded like a star, blinding them momentarily before fading to reveal a new space, a desolate, crumbling landscape of what looked like an abandoned town. The sky churned in murky grays, thick clouds rolling like the deep sea. The shadows twisted and turned, winding through dilapidated buildings that leaned precariously, giving the impression they could collapse at any moment. It was eerily quiet, save for the distant wail of a haunting wind that sent chills skittering down Agnes's spine. Where are we? She murmured, her hands still firmly clasped in the heiress, unwilling to let go. I don't know, he said, his voice strained. But it feels all wrong. We need to move. As they stepped forward, the ground beneath them felt fractured, like a puzzle of broken dreams. Jagged rocks jutted out, roots twisted above the surface like desperate fingers grasping for something lost. Shadows lingered at the corners of their vision, whispering secrets too dark to hear. It was unsettling, a pause in time that left a bad taste in her mouth. Listen, the heir said, halting her thoughts. Did you hear that? Agnes strained her ears. There it was, soft cries, echoing just beneath the surface of the whispering shadows. They followed the sound, each step feeling heavier, like the air around them thickened with dread. The cries grew louder, more urgent, pulling them deeper into the heart of this sinister realm. Suddenly, the atmosphere shifted. A figure emerged from the shadows ahead, not cloaked, but a small girl, her features smudged like charcoal against the gray backdrop. Clutching an old doll to her chest, she looked up with wide, terror-filled eyes. Help me, please. They're coming. Stay back. The heir shouted, instinctively stepping protectively in front of Agnes. Who are you? The girl's gaze flickered over to Agnes, recognition dawning across her face. You're just like me. They want you too. They want all of us. What do you mean? Agnes urged, her heart racing. Who is coming? Before the girl could answer, the shadows darted forward like predators, swirling and coiling around her. The doll dropped to the ground, cracking like glass when it hit the stones. No! No! The girl screamed, the heir lunged, desperate to save her, but Agnes yanked him back. We can't be reckless. We have to stick together. Together! The cloaked figure's voice reverberated from the depths, mocking them cruelly. It's a fine idea. But you know, together is a double-edged sword. Chaos erupted as the shadows lunged, dragging the girl into the gloom. Agnes felt her pulse quicken. Where had she seen faces like those before? They were familiar, hauntingly so. Faces of loss, shame, and sorrow. Each one twisted in an anguish that seemed interwoven with her own. The heiress' grip tightened around her hand. Agnes, we have to go after her. But as they moved to follow, the ground shifted violently beneath them. The town-grown stone walls cracking, and buildings beginning to sway, as if they were alive and could feel the tremors of fear radiating between the three of them. Run! He shouted, pulling her along as they dodged falling debris. The shadows were weaving through the chaos, chasing them, relentless. What would they discover now? Did the girl hold a key to the truth they were desperately seeking? You couldn't just take their light, you had to confront the darkness within. As they stumbled through the wreckage, Agnes could feel the inescapable weight of fate pressing heavily against her chest. She suppressed the mounting panic. We have to find her. We can't lose her. The tension built, thickening the air around them. Just then, they turned a corner, and there she was, at the edge of an ancient well. The girl stood frozen, her back to them, as shadows writhed at her feet. Run! Agnes yelled again, but it was too late. The girl turned, a smile twisting her lips, a smile far too wide, revealing rows of jagged teeth. Welcome home, she whispered, before plunging into the well, disappearing into the shadows below. Agnes felt her blood run cold. What have we done? They stood at the precipice, hearts racing and dread pooling in their stomachs, staring into the abyss. They were all connected now, entwined in a fate darker than they could comprehend. But before they could decide whether to follow, the shadows surged forward, and they were thrust into another layer of chaos, the echoes of the past overtaking them once again. What secrets awaited them in the depths? Would they find the answers they sought or lose themselves forever in the dark? The darkness enveloped them, a thick fog of fear and pain, dragging them down like an anchor. Gratitude, guilt, and a desperate hope exploded within Agnes's chest as she clung to the heir and his father, reminding herself that they stood together. Together in the face of impending danger, but as they were swallowed by the shadows, something shifted. The ground beneath her trembled violently, shaking loose the memories that had been buried for so long. With every heartbeat, secrets loomed larger, ready to reveal the truth about a night that had shattered lives. "Hold on!" shouted the heir, gripping Agnes's hand tighter. His father was close behind them, mouth set in a grim line. "We will find a way through." Suddenly, the darkness receded as they stepped into a dimly lit clearing, the air thick with tension. Before them stood a towering figure cloaked in swirling shadows, an entity that seemed to embody the darkness they had been fighting against. Its piercing eyes flickered with ancient knowledge, and a low, menacing voice rumbled through the air, echoing against the crumbling remnants of lost hopes. "Did you really believe you could confront the shadows without consequence?" The figure hissed, its expression shifting into a mask of cruel enjoyment. "This is your reckoning. Your sister's fate lies intertwined with your choices. Are you prepared to face the truth?" Agnes breathed heavily, her stomach twisting at the thought of unveiling what they had come searching for. She glanced at the heir, who had gone pale, the weight of his family's past crashing down on him like a tidal wave. "Yes," the heir said defiantly, meeting the dark gaze with fierce determination. "We will confront the truth, no matter the cost. We need to know." The figure chuckled softly, a chilling sound that sent a shiver down Agnes's spine. "Then prepare yourselves," it whispered, and with a wave of its hand, the shadow swirled violently before coming to rest, revealing images of the past. Each scene morphed into existence like a penis of sorrow. Agnes gasped as she recognized the images playing before her eyes, a vivid replay of a night marred by betrayal and blood. There stood the heiress sister, laughing and dancing, blissfully unaware of the fate awaiting her. Shadows curled around her, whispering deceitful promises, and Agnes felt the weight of anguish settle onto her shoulders. She looked at the heir, whose face was taut with realization. "This is what happened, this is how she vanished," he breathed, horror washing over him. "But why?" Agnes found her voice, stepping forward. "What led to this? What did your family do?" The shadows shifted again as the figure answered, its voice now heavy with echoes of the forgotten. "To thrive in the world of privilege, sacrifices must be made. Those who own the light often fear the darkness. It will cost you dearly to discover the truth." Agnes's heart raced as she pieced together the fragments of the past, the laughter drowned out by cascading screams. Rage burned within her, igniting regret for the secrets protecting such cruelty. "This is madness. You can't let fear control us," she cried, standing tall in defiance. "Madness!" the figure shouted, a deep fury sparking in its eyes. "You call it madness, yet you remain tethered by it. Your sister was doomed by choices made long before your birth. The darkness was always going to call her home." The atmosphere crackled with tension as Agnes grasped the heiress' arm. "We can rewrite this story. We won't let her memory be condemned to the shadows. Not anymore. Are you ready to confront the cost of that decision?" The cloaked figure pressed, voice lowering into a sinister whisper. The shadows gathered behind it, swirling like a storm about to break. "Whatever it takes." The heir responded, his resolve unyielding. Suddenly, a brilliant light exploded from the ground before them, enveloping them in warmth amidst the shadows. The specters of the past, twisted faces filled with anguish, surged forward, calling out, not in anger, but sorrow. Agnes felt her heart race as she absorbed their collective pain, their whispers merging into a chorus of desperate pleas for understanding and redemption. "I'm here," she shouted, the tears streaming down her face as she held onto the heir, their hands clenching tighter, determination fueling them both. We can do this together. We will find a way to honor your sister's memory, to unravel this chaos. In that moment, the figure wavered, uncertainty flickering across its face for the first time. Then face the final truth, for it is not in shadows you'll find your answers, but in the light of love and sacrifice. With that, the shadows surged forward, attempting to sweep them away, but Agnes, with renewed strength, held her ground, calling out to the spirits entwined in her heart. You will not claim us. We stand united for love, for understanding, for the truth that binds us all. The light swelled, casting the shadows back, illuminating the memories long hidden, the pain giving way to hope, and Agnes felt her heart lift as the past began to transform the heir's sister lingering in the brightness, her spirit now freed from the grasp of despair, and just like that, a profound silence fell over them, the shadows dissipating as if they had never been. The figure melted away into nothingness, leaving behind only echoes of choices that had shaped their lives. As they emerged into a world awash in light, they knew the truth: the shadows would never fully disappear, but from then on, they wouldn't be afraid to hold their memories close and confront their past for the rest of their lives. Agnes turned to the heir, a smile breaking through her tears. We did it. We found the truth. He nodded, a warmth spreading through him. And now, we can live with it. Together. In that hushed moment, amidst the turning of destiny, they found what had been lost. Closure. Freedom. The promise of a new beginning forged from the ashes of the old, but as they turned to leave, Agnes felt an urgent flicker behind her, catching her breath momentarily. It was a shadow, still grappling for the remnants of the past. Don't look away. You've taken the first step. Our shadows are part of us, they remain behind, but we choose what to carry forward, the echoes whispered, a reminder sewn deep into her soul. Never again would they flee the darkness, and with that, they stepped into their new dawn, shadows trailing behind but hearts soaring forward. Don't let this moment slip. You need to subscribe now. Smash that like button and feed the algorithm that brings you these stories. Fill the comments with your reactions and theories. What did you think of the ending? And don't wait even one more second. Share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see how this journey ended. Your support matters. Only true fans can help us grow. You can make a difference right now.